Well, once again, Board Game Vibe up to episode 3, and we're looking at greed, or actually it's Farkle, but we'll soon see why. I have the Crown and Andrews version of Greed, the Australian version. There's my copy there. The rules themselves you can find on the web, Wikipedia, the source of all truth, but if you click over to Farkle, you might notice that they're very similar. Greed itself comes with 6 dice. Basically, instead of 1 to 6, it has dollars and the letters of greed, 2 E's in different colours. We'll get back to that. Comes with a very nice mat. I do like the mat. We'll come back to that as well. So, what do you see? So what you see is, of course, the same shot because I've run out of time. Notice that there are 2 E's. I don't know why you'd want 2 E's to separate 6 different numbers, and they've distinguished them with different colours, here known as ebony and emerald. But my eyes can't pick up these colour differentials in anything but super bright light, so I've had to sort of put some nail polish, not my own, to distinguish them. A real flaw in the game. But the mat itself, I think, is a great idea. A mat gives a bounce to the game which normal dice don't have. So, you either take normal dice or your greed dice and you roll them. And hopefully you might score some points depending on the outcome. You either take those points or keep rolling the remaining dice until you score or go back to 0. Here I am rolling the dice because it's a dice rolling game with the points, and we get to some points at the end. So I roll my dice, and in this case I get 3 E's. I'm not too sure if they're ebony and emerald, but that's 300 points. I can therefore stop there, and I've got an extra D for 100, so that will give me 400 points for the round. Or I can set aside the 3 E's and roll 3 remaining dice to see how my luck is, or maybe, I guess legally, set aside the single D and roll the remaining 5 dice to see what happens. But if I don't score any combination for the next roll, I go back to 0, or I can set aside further dice. So unsurprisingly, I've set aside the 3 E dice, and I've rolled again. In this case, I've got the G, R, and D. D's worth 100, G's worth 50. I'll probably take that for 450, given that if I need to take one, say the D, leaving me with a G and an R, I probably won't get much out of that. It ends up getting 0, and that completely wipes out my turn for this round. Now, through a combination of skill or luck, I may in some instances end up having, through one roll or mini rolls, used up all the die in scoring, in which case I can set aside those points, pick up all 6 die and start rolling again. But of course, if I end up on one roll not scoring any points, I lose all the points that I've accumulated for this round. So I typically roll until I feel that maybe it's a good time to stop. Now, if this picture here is your type of strategy game where dice is involved, I don't think you'll like Greed or Farkle. But if you're much more inclined to just roll some dice with some non-gamers, it's not a bad game. Actually, the last point of strategy is the end game, where after someone passes the score required, say 5,000, everyone gets one more turn, which is a nice touch because you tend to try to catch up as a leader. Now at the back of my Crown and Andrews version is copyright the Great American Greed Company, which is where I assume they get the dice. And if you go to their website, you'll note that in Australia, Greed was #1 for 3 consecutive years. Not too sure what the definition of #1 game is. I'm guessing it means #1 game that's in a green box beginning with the letter G and that has wonky E dice. But interesting little stat after all. However, if you do use the Farkle version with traditional dice, can I suggest you, at some point during the game, bring up the Petals Around the Rose puzzle. Great little puzzle, and if you're not aware of it yet, try to work it out for yourself before going straight to the answer. A good way, I think, to get into the puzzle is this particular website, but it's always best to have someone else explain it to you. And importantly, don't give away the solution. So with that, that's the vibe on Greed/Farkle, and we'll sign off now. Bye.